Okay, the lower one would be the Bulgarian split squat because it's so satisfying. I don't know. I mean, it's extremely hard, but it's just satisfying to progress in that one. And I don't know, I guess I just like pain just a little bit. Upper body would probably be a lat pull down. Just, I don't know, it just feels good. And I think that's always my number one, just back movement. And what was the other one? Core? Core would be, honestly, plank. A plank, just no particular reason, but just planks. So I think my personal style, I'm very simple, but I like to add maybe a touch of color here and there, like just, you know, my socks right now, and like change my style too much as far as like I'll wear leggings and sweatpants. That's pretty much it, and a sports bra, and I don't really veer out of that. And I think it's mainly because I'm working a lot and it's technically my uniform, so I'm always in it. I like Lululemon, but they have changed a little bit over the last couple of years, I'll be honest, so the quality is just not there anymore. So I'm trying to find a good brand that I like. But as far as gym clothes go, Training Club, it's a company that I'm sponsored by, and I do like that one. It's fairly new, so there's not too much out yet, but I like their style. They incorporate a lot of Roman styles and a little stoicism in there. So I like that kind of style, and very simple, nice neutral colors, and that's pretty much it. So I grew up in Germany. I was born and raised there until I was 12. And I'm not an army brat. A lot of times people will assume like, oh, you're an army brat, but no, my whole family's German. My dad's work moved our whole family to Arizona when I was 12. And then I lived there up until 2017. My brother had a job opportunity out here in Pasadena, and at the time I was bartending, my lease was up, I was going through a breakup, and I always wanted to live in California. I think it's if you're not from California, if you haven't lived there, I think anybody from out of state, it's like kind of a dream to live in California. So I just asked him if I could go with, and yeah, here I am. Originally, I thought I was gonna be here in a year, tops 2, but yeah, I think it's my 8th year now, 7th or 8th year. I do love it, I love it here, I do. The pandemic, actually. So I was a little bit hesitant. I really doubted myself with being able to coach other people. So I had my training certification for years prior to when I actually started, because it was always in the back of my mind, but I needed a catalyst to get me out of bartending. And the pandemic did exactly that for me. So when the pandemic hit, obviously I couldn't bartend, and I'm a workaholic, so I couldn't just sit around all day. And I started driving for Amazon, Postmates, and it just, respect for the people that do that, because it's tough. It's not an easy job, and obviously I didn't enjoy it. And then I started doing park workouts because I had some resistance bands at home, and I needed to do something. So I just went on Instagram, told my friends I'm doing park workouts for like, I think it was $10 at the time, super cheap. And it just kind of snowballed from there. Like more people started showing up, and then yeah, here I am. And you know, I don't have to bartend anymore, and I'm my own boss, and I'm super grateful for that opportunity. It was always in the back of my head to start coaching people, and people would tell me like, you know, why don't you become a coach? And I don't know what it was. I was too scared. And you know, when you don't have a choice, that's when good things happen, I guess. So at first I was very nervous, but once I had like, you know, a few sessions just at the park, and I noticed that people actually, you know, they listened, and I was able to coach them, and it just started becoming fun, and I just realized it was my passion helping people in that industry. And I consider myself a very impatient person, but I find that when I'm coaching, my patience is just through the roof. Like I'm just a different person when I'm a coach, and I like that. Honestly, kind of just like how I talked about, it wasn't really planned too intensely, and so I can kind of, when I look back at it, there's a few things I wish I would have done, which I think would be good advice for somebody starting out, is getting a mentor, being able to shadow someone for a while. I think that would have been a lot more helpful for me, because I started with my park workouts, and in the pandemic, I was all over the place, you know, in terms of I didn't really have the experience working in a gym and having different coaches tell me, you know, this is what you should and shouldn't do, helping out with the business aspects, the financial parts. And that's still things that I'm working on now. So I think just having a mentor and shadowing somebody would have been helpful, but for me, it just kind of, I was all over the place. And now it's finally, you know, a few years later, I'm finally finding my more, I guess, smooth path. During the pandemic, or right before the pandemic, I didn't have my Instagram anymore. I deactivated it. I just didn't like it. And when I started doing my parkour, because I needed to be on Instagram just to obviously, get my name out. So it was initially at 2020 is when I started using it more frequently. And during that time, I also joined another gym that I trained out of, and it was self-made training facility. I guess you could say it's more of like a hypey gym, but the people in there, the coaches and the owners, they really help you with social media, and they kind of, taught me a little bit more about you should post every day, you need to be more comfortable in front of the camera, and obviously the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and then that way you get more clients too, and your following gets built up a little bit. It's funny when people say I have a big following. To me, it's not that big, because I feel like if you have like 100K and above, that to me is like, okay, it's big. But I actually just talked about this on my Instagram today. If you really do think about like 20K people, it's a lot of people, like if you really think about it in one room, right? So I have to remind myself sometimes of that. My posts, I try to keep them as genuine as I can and more realistic. I don't really bullshit. And I think people like that, because I hate saying this, but I keep it real. I really do. So I don't always just talk about the highlights of my life. I talk about the downside of things, and I don't edit my pictures. I don't edit my videos, so I just want people to have realistic expectations, which I think that's why my following gets, it's growing a little bit, just because it's not what every, influencer does, or I try not to be like that, but at the end of the day, we all pretty much are doing the same thing. We're posting workout videos, but I guess I might be doing something a little different. I don't know. I'm not really sure. You know what? I love my haters, because they're the ones that actually they get my post engagements up. I love them. I don't care about anybody's opinion unless you're in my close circle of friends or my family. So I don't care what anybody has to say about me. If there's no intimate relationship we have, I'm not gonna care what you have to say about me, because you don't know me, It's just, why does it matter? And I play around with it. So I'll usually comment back, and it starts an argument, which is, it's funny because they think I care, but I really don't care. I just do it out of pure entertainment when I'm bored. And and then things like the posts go viral, and people start following you through that. It's more so a game. I know it sounds kind of, maybe it's a little crazy, but the haters don't bother me at all. I don't really take anything they say to heart. There's that saying too, it's like if people are hating you, you're doing something right, and it's usually the people that, if you really click on the profiles of the people that hate you, they're the ones sitting on the couch and absolutely nothing with their life. They're not doing anything, so it's like, who are you to judge me? So, it kind of just piggybacks on what I just said. Use the haters to your advantage. It helps get your name out there. And I think the hater, so I feel like your fans usually outweigh your haters. So you can't look at, if you have one hater, you probably have 10 fans. So you have to kind of take the positive out of the negative, because there's really not, like I said, there's not that many haters out there, And if they are, maybe they're hating in silence, but the ones that are more vocal, they don't matter compared to your true fans. And that's how I would look at it. You're always gonna have bigger supporters than your haters, I think a big one is body dysmorphia. I think we all have it, especially in the bodybuilding world. You tend to, people will give you compliments, but you're deep down, you're like, you don't think you look like that, or you are like that. And I think a big one too, and this is something that I actually had some conversations with some other coaches recently, is imposter syndrome. Because social media is so big and you're getting so much information spewed at you and so many different success stories, when you're seeing all these different profiles, you start to compare yourself a little bit sometimes. As much as you tell yourself you're not going to, there's always going to be a little part that, you look at something like, why am I not there? And then you start second guessing the choices you've made, and you kind of think like, am I doing the right thing? Am I even a good coach? Are people seeing results? Do people like me? And it just spirals. I think that's a big thing that people don't really notice in that kind of industry. I just lift. That honestly is, for my mental health, is my lifting, my training. It's time to take a break when I burn out, but I'll be honest, I feel like I'm going through burnout right now, but I can't take a break right now. So I ride through it. But I can tell when I have a burnout when things that used to give me joy, I kind of avoid, even making online programs for newer clients. Normally I would just pump them out like this, but when you're burnt out, at least for me, I find myself like taking a step back, and I'll watch stupid reality TV, because my brain is just not, it's just not there. I just don't have the mental capacity to put any effort in it, and I just want to do nothing, and I just kind of, I shut out. That's when it's time to take a break. I wish you could tell me, because that's something I struggle with right now. I use my, my Google Calendar. That's been a lifesaver for me. So I schedule myself time when I make content. Obviously my clients are on there. Do I always follow it? No. Sometimes, I get lost in it a little bit, but yeah, my time management skills definitely, I need some work, but I do end up getting everything done, but I am known to be a procrastinator, but I kind of work really well under pressure. So everything I need to get done gets finished, but I could definitely work on managing it a little bit better so I have some extra free time. But I think also as somebody who does content, I don't have anybody making it for me, so I'm constantly, even when I have free time, I'm thinking about, I should make this video, I should do this tutorial. So I'm constantly making some kind of content. Like my phone is just filled with it, just random edits that I can end up posting throughout the week. So I don't really feel like I don't really get a break, but that's okay. So I actually use the question box on Instagram on my stories, and I let the public kind of tell me, hey, I want to see you explain a deadlift, or it's usually from the people that I get my ideas from. And then obviously, you see things on Instagram and you're like, oh, it sparks an idea. But I try my best not to copy anybody, because I just feel like that's my issue with social media, and I feel like everything is just getting recycled and it's getting boring. It is difficult. That is difficult. Because it's very vulnerable, right? And it feels like sometimes your ego kicks in a little bit, and it just feels, I don't know, I still feel uncomfortable doing it, promoting myself, but it's just something that you have to do. So I try not to think too deeply into it. And yeah, you just kind of, the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And it's the same thing with, talking on your stories. I used to feel super awkward in it, but now it's just, I don't care. It doesn't matter. I would tell myself to be more confident, to not have doubts, and to learn about finances and to save my money. I think the confidence one is the biggest part though, because I think if you don't have the confidence, you limit yourself from opportunities and you take a step back and kind of in the back burner. And I feel like I missed out on a lot of opportunities because I never thought I would be good at anything, and I thought I would just kind of coast through life. But now my confidence has gone up a little bit, and I'm just excited to try new things. And yeah, I think that's what I would tell myself.
All right.
I think I blacked out.